Hi guys, and welcome to today's Photoshop tutorial, and in this episode I'm just going to be showing you how to enhance your nighttime photography. Now of course, if you're taking photography at nighttime, you need to make sure your exposure, your composition are correct anyway. I'm not going to be telling you how to take your picture, simply how to enhance it in a software such as Camera Raw or Lightroom, but in this tutorial we're going to be focusing on Camera Raw. Now first off, what I always tend to do with my pictures as soon as they're in Camera Raw is reduce the highlights and up the shadows. Now straight away you get to see more detail in the picture as the shadows are enhanced and the detailed areas are shown better in the picture. Now what you can do as well is increase the contrast, and you can faff around with the exposure a bit if you like, but I think for this now the picture is just about right anyway, the way it was. You can adjust the temperature as well if you want a more kind of warmer light and you want to bring out those building lights that are in the side of the buildings there, then you can adjust the temperature to how you like it. Of course, lowering the temperature will get rid of those yellow lights and you won't be able to see all the detail so much that you could before. Now what you can do is bump up the clarity and increase the vibrance, and already this is looking better compared to the original. Now of course there's some details we've lost here, for example in the picture of the logo here on the building, but what we can do is we can adjust the lights and the highlights here to bring that logo back. Let's just go back to fit in view. So it's completely up to you how you deal with this, and it's really not that hard to adjust. I mean, they're just little settings you can make, and that's basically it for the Camera Raw side of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the copy in Photoshop, and once it's opened we can go to selective color here on the adjustments, and we can start messing around with which colors are coming through on our image. For example, how much red is in the image, we can get rid of that and make it more kind of blue. We can change how much magenta is in the image, how much yellow, and how much black. But obviously if I want to pick the yellow here, so this will target all the yellow colours in the image, I can reduce how much cyan is in that yellow, so make it more orange if you want to, or more green. You can adjust how much magenta is in it, and this can produce some really cool effects without really like damaging your photo at all. You can reduce the yellows completely and get this kind of really interesting light green effect, or you can really bump them up so they look really intense. And then of course you can play around with the blacks, how black you want it to be and how you want to get rid of all the shadows and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Okay, then we can adjust the blues, so the blues in the sky. Now if you're working with a RAW file, which hopefully you should be if you're taking any kind of photos really that you want to take, that you want people to take seriously, then this will help a lot in the post-production side of things, because RAW has a lot more image detail which you can play around with as compared to JPEG, which doesn't. So if you don't shoot in RAW, shoot in RAW. I've got a video in my description that explains the JPEG versus RAW issue and things, the advantages and disadvantages of both. So if you're not sure about what you're shooting in RAW or anything like that, then go check out that video. So I'm just playing around with the colours now, nothing too serious. This is all down to personal preference as well, with what you think looks good. You can really just play around with any setting you want to, really. It's completely up to you. There's no set preference on what looks good and what looks bad. It's all down to your own personal preference on the image. So yeah, I mean, once you play around with things like this, you can get really kind of creative with the colours, and you can produce some really nice results. I mean, like I mentioned before, don't take editing as an excuse to be sloppy when you're actually taking the picture itself. You need to make sure you've got the composition right, the exposure right, and things like that, which are all things you need to focus on when you're actually out there with your camera taking the picture yourself. But there's tons of little adjustments you can make to your image just to enhance it and just to make it pop a little bit more, which they're really easy to do. And obviously if you're using adjustments, you can just disable them if you decide that you don't like the effect you've put on, or you don't like the effect you've created, and it's as simple as that. I mean, you can go through some color lookups too, some different ways to enhance your image through different color styles and different ways of doing it. I think this looks quite cool. If I wanted to use something like this, I'd probably reduce it, or maybe simply use a different layer overlay, a layer setting. Yeah, as I said, there's tons of ways you can adjust your image. and enhance your night photography. But of course, the steps in Camera Raw were probably the most important, bringing out those highlights, those shadows, and making the lights really pop, and bringing out any details such as logos that you're missing from your nighttime shots because of the light and the exposure on your camera. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed this little tips video, it's really basic, it's really quick, it's nothing too in-depth or serious, but I hope you enjoyed it and taken note of some of the little adjustments I made, and hopefully this may help your own photography yourself. Be sure to like my Facebook page, and if you've edited any of your nighttime photography and have taken any tips from this tutorial, then feel free to post it on my Facebook page and I'll check it out. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more Photoshop tutorials, and I'll see you guys in another video soon.